Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League's PlayStation Performance League Australian Grand Prix, brought to you in partnership with GridFinder.com. I am Tim, back once again, and with me is my co-commentator, as always, Malc.
Hello, mate. Hello. I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Been about a week, maybe two, maybe three, maybe four. I actually don't even remember, but I'm glad to be back now and just waiting for these drivers to ready up, and then we'll start our 10-lap sprint race and then 29-lap feature race.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much that you need to catch up on, to be fair, because all the races that you missed out, Tim, there have been some classics. And yeah, there's been some um, questionable driving, shall we say. But at the same time, there has been a lot of good battles. And last week, just a bit of a recap for the guys who just missed out, Simon Palmer, who won the F2 race last week in Mexico, he done it again in this feature race last week at Mexico for the Realistic Performance League. And it was a good performance for him. And he's showing some good performances. And he's just gained that steady back slowly into that driver standards, and he has been improving the last few weeks, and I've been really impressed with him, to be fair. So, and good evening to everyone that's in the chat. Hello to ARL, how you doing, mate? He says, hola. Spud, welcome back. Welcome back, Tim. He's saying that to you. Welcome back. And Steven says, hold up, banner full traction for. Oh no, here we go. Steven trending with the full traction control. I bet you're wondering what's happened, Tim. It's basically Steven asking for more full traction every week, but putting the banner up. It's never going to happen, mate. It's never ever going to happen, to be fair. So, Australian Grand Prix.
Now,
Because
Malk, you telling him that it's never going to happen. That is just going to fuel him more. And I gotta say, I do admire the determination.
well, tough. I would have said something else on the stream, but I'm not saying it on stream because we're all being
Well,
professionals.
it's not our decision anyway. We just commentate on it.
I know, but I'm just saying tough beep moments as well. ARL says quite a few races have been unfortunate, so hopefully can end that. And Spud says same here. I believe that's for the full traction control, I believe, or maybe that's hopefully for the unfortunate moments. Yeah, like with the drivers, they were being really unlucky the last few times. I felt sorry for Speed Queen. I felt sorry for Nigel Gash. I felt sorry for some of the drivers who push, like as well as Spud and ARL and everyone else who had trouble times and try to push and they can't do everything they can, and they're trying their hardest in each of the races, but it's just either rotten luck, bad positioning from the other drivers ahead. It's just a cumulative, and I just feel sorry for him, to be fair. But I was just mentioning about the Australian Grand Prix. What's your thoughts of the track? Do you like the track?
Well, the Australian Grand Prix, of course, as we know, it's a little bit different this season with the change in the track configuration, but this is one of the tracks that I actually feel comfortable driving on, and it's not just because for the longest time it was the first race in the schedule and it was the one that I had to keep practicing on the most. No, not at all.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, the Australian Grand Prix, it's a fantastic track. I've obviously never had the opportunity to go there in real life. I would love to see it. The aesthetics look beautiful, and as far as the way it drives, it's very different. You got that very long home straightaway, which is a given, and then you've got a nice little uh, uh, how you call it? If I can get my words out today, the
It's
the,
it's
the
all
S's
right,
through
mate.
one and
I'll let
two.
you off.
Yeah,
Or
and then you have the S's through one and two. But what makes this track sort of unique is that the detection zone, the DRS detection zone for uh, the front straightaway is the same DRS detection zone going into, I believe, turn 3. So it's very
correct.
important that these drivers pay attention to where they are coming out of that final corner, because there's not just one DRS zone on the line, there's two.
Well, yeah, it's just well. I say two, it's like three DRS zones because you got the one after the chicane, the fast left hander, just after the second sector into the third. I'm calling it the chicane of death because we have seen quite a few times where people try to push to the limit and their back end just loses it based on touching the curb and they're gone and they hit the wall. So we have seen that many, many times in this week's Australian Grand Prix. But for this perspective, Tim, instead of two, we're going to have three DRSs, and with the track changes, shall we say, I quite like this format. I like the format. I like the track. And oh my god, do you see that, Tim? Do you see that?
Isn't it rare for it to rain in Australia, or am I thinking of something completely different here?
It's very rare that Australia has the wet conditions itself, because you're trying to think of like Bahrain, where it never rains, it's always been dry track. It's very, very rare that it's had a wet conditions itself. But Melbourne, at the Melbourne Park in Australia, we've got the fantastic track, and we're going to have a fantastic race to start with on the sprint. If you are just joining in, good evening to you all. Hope everyone has a fantastic evening of live and exclusive racing. We are here for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're here for at least 10 likes. Will be a massive help on the YouTube channel and on the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel for the live race itself. It's mostly for myself and Tim as the commentators, as well as the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel. Make sure you like this stream, guys. Thank you so much. Wet conditions. I feel sorry for the drivers, but for us, we're gonna love it. Love it, Tim.
Nah. I want to see these. I want to see dry conditions. However, we are in luck because Steven's telling us that it's rain then dry.
Damn you! I was about to beat you to that. To be fair, Tim. Damn you. So I don't know whether it's going to be the rain to dry in the sprint, or it's going to be rain to dry throughout the whole weekend. So we're not sure. Hello, Stuart. How you doing, mate? Hope you came well. Yeah, it's still whatever happens in this first part of the race, the sprint, there'll be no changes of the car, shall we say, or changes of the tyre wear. So, but the only time you'll probably get changes is if you have damage to the front wing, which I would not be surprised. The way that it's been this season, the Performance League, and with everyone trying to get to that first corner, it's like, do you remember that old saying, Tim? You can't win a race at the first corner, but you can definitely lose it. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, and we've definitely seen a lot of races lost in the first corner. It looks like we're about to get underway. ARL says that even... well, actually, it's saying rain then dry. That's what Steven said. But ARL said that it's still going to be a zero stopper, which, of course, that is to be expected for the sprint race. All the same, it's going to be very interesting to see how the drivers navigate these wet conditions early on. 5 seconds till we start. Remember, no formation lap for the sprint or the feature. We're going straight to the grid, straight to the race. It's 10 laps for the sprint and then 29 laps for the feature. And we are green for the sprint, and here we go. Sab will lead them off. Melanated Nitro Gas, your top three.
And here they go. They come up to the first corner now and see what's going to happen so far. Oh, the Ferrari's gone wide. That's Spud. The Spud went wide at the first corner, trying to avoid it, but they're all on the intermediate tyres. Spud and Michael dropped down like a domino effect. Well, definitely Michael dropped down a domino effect. 3 to bed moment. We've got 3 to bed. Oh, no, contact. Contact between ARL, and there's contact at the back. Ginger Tiger's going right at the back, and there's a spin after turn 3. I'll tell you what, Spud and Michael, they're really close at the back of the grid. Who are you watching so far, Tim?
Still watching the jostling around for position around the top 2, top 3 positions. Of course, Melanade, he is checked out 1.1 seconds ahead of Sab. Sab trying to hold off Nitro Gash, who's in a side-by-side battle with Sunboy, who's going around the outside. A very brave move there. Does he get the job done? Yes, he does. He clears Nitro Gash, now looking to take advantage of his speed and momentum to get around Sab. Not going to be able to do it this time, though. Very surprised to see just how hooked up that Alpine was around that outside line, as now you see Nitro Gash in jeopardy of losing another spot to Keza there, and Nitro Gash actually pushes Keza a little bit wide there, but then goes back out on track, so both drivers are able to merge back on the racing surface clean, and Keza not yet able to get by Nitro Gash. It looks like Steven actually took advantage of Keza's misfortune as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and Keza's just trying to push on massively. While he was watching it, there was a few battles at the back of the grid. Looks like Daryl was having a torrid time in the minute. He's going himself into the pits, so he must have had front wing damage at the start. So that's not good news for him at the moment. But watching the battle between Keza and Steven, can Keza push on? He really wishes he had the DRS right here, right now. Yellow flag set to 1 today. He's already out. He's already out at turn 1. Yeah, he's already out, so and we've got our first safety car of the evening, Tim.
And safety car for the sprint race on lap 2 of 10. And what's going to be about 3 laps under the safety car mount?
About 3 laps, yeah, I would say, depending on... Well, actually, it's pretty much everyone there. It's just Daryl's just the only one who's right at the back of the grid to try and catch up to these guys as well. So Michael's got himself a penalty. I believe that's multiple warnings or maybe contact. We'll get that confirmed in a minute. But at the moment, Melanade, this will make you laugh, and I think Melanade is accepting this. He wants to be called Melanado on there instead of Melanade. I think that's a lot easier. Yeah, yeah.
Melanardo?
Melanado. Like Pasta Maldonado. That type, but Melanado instead of Melanade.
Melanaldo.
Yeah, Melanado. Yeah.
You know what? We're gonna do that. We are going to do.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I always say it on F3, and Max, who's the other commentator in F3, he always does that as well. So following the trend into the Performance League as well. Good evening to Reeds. How you doing, mate? Hope you came well. We are at the Australian Grand Prix for a wet conditions, or intermediate conditions, because I believe it's going to be from wets to dries. And I'll be very surprised if it stops raining now, to be fair. I'll be very surprised if it stops raining, Tim, like, as of now. I know it's still going at the minute, but I'll be very surprised because these guys will have to pit for the dry conditions sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and, we're not really expecting any pit stops if it does not stop raining. Now, if it did stop raining now, you might see a few drivers maybe think about taking the gamble. And, to be fair, with them bunched up under the safety car, if the track were to dry up quick enough, then that would be a very good gamble and it could pay off. But as you can see, it is still raining very lightly here, so the track is not going to be drying up anytime soon.
Absolutely not. The clouds are still grey. There's no outburst of sunshine at all, so be interested to see when it's going to happen. But ARL and Daryl, they're coming up to the grid, to the path now, so I will not be surprised if the safety car comes in this lap. And be a very late call as well, to be fair. Be a very, very late call. So I would not be surprised if it's right at the limiter. So Melanade, or Melanado is what we're calling him now, got to be on his toes. Got to be on his toes, because it could come in at this lap. He's very lucky. He's very lucky that it didn't go in.
Well, he's not really at a disadvantage right now. It just means that he's got less laps that he's going to have to deal with drivers behind him. But Melanado up there, we saw him get out to about a 1.3 second lead very early on. So we know that Mercedes is hooked up around this circuit in the wet conditions. Now, that's good for right now. but how is that car going to handle when it dries up? Is it going to dry up at the end of the sprint race, or is it going to be dry for the feature race? We're still not sure, but we do expect some dry racing conditions today. And the big question is, how is that Mercedes going to run when the track is dry? Just because it's the fastest car, or one of the fastest cars out there in the Performance League, doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be Melinaldo's saving grace.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just, you got drivers who, like Spud, who's in the Ferrari. You got O'Steven and Sav, who are on the Red Bull. Hopefully, give them some wings later to give them that extra boost afterwards. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Reed says the low speed turns are a silent killer in these conditions. Melbourne doesn't have a lot of them anymore. I always think the chicane is the danger zone, because if they make a mistake, that's it. The safety car is going to be in this lap. Good evening to Lee. How you doing, mate? Hope you came well. It says rain in F3 quali last night was torrentious, tricky even in the dry round here. So, I mean, at the moment the guys are doing really well. It's just except for Tadelli, who crashed out at turn 1 within lap 2, I believe. So, be interested to see what's going to happen in the next few laps. But Melanay needs to bunch up these cars, Tim. He needs to bunch up these cars before we start. Otherwise, I wonder if he's going to go now.
He's already got a very good start. Melanade really jumping the gun there, and he is ready to go. We are back green. Should be about 6 laps of racing left to go, as Melinaldo already out to a 1.7 second lead. My goodness, that's got to be the best safety car restart that we have seen.
Well, absolutely. I would have tricked them. I would have bunched them up, and then I would have gone on the last corner and gone for it. But I'll tell you what's going to go for it. Oh, Stephen trying to make the move onto the gas, but can't make the move into turn 3. Still trying to push on into turn 4. It looks like Kez is trying to make the move. He really just wanted to try and push on after what happened in F2 earlier on this week. But here we go. We might have a 3. Oh, come on, we want a 3 to bed moment in this wet conditions. Come on! Come on! Can O'Steven now make the move with the mode of the full traction control? Or can Keza, with no traction control, beat him on track? He's on the McLaren and trying to put the pressure on. And we've got another battle between the 2 Alpha Towers of Smoke and Simon Barber. They're just behind 2 in the bed moment. Come on! Simon Barber! Beautiful! Beautiful move. Boy, he did cut the corner a little bit on that chicane, trying to avoid it. But now it's brought Smoke into play. But, oh my God, Smoke's making the move on the inside. Nearly trying to make the move on the inside. What a restart so far, Tim.
Yeah, Smoke backing out of that move there, seeing a gap that was closing very quickly. So smart driving there from our defending champion as we take a look at Keza, still trying to get by O'Steven for that 5th position. Nitro Gash a little bit safe, a little bit of breathing room, but not much as they go down the straightaway. And what's happening? Jostling around for position up at the front.
Whoa! Spud has spun. I think he got contact by one of the hashes. I believe that might be Jin Tiger. I might be wrong. We'll have to double check, but he's already lost his front wing now. So Spud and Michael, they're both in the pits.
Well, Malc, look at this, though. We are now under a safety car. My thoughts exactly, Malc.
Yes, I'm speechless. And now Spud, as we've gone on to the softs, the rain has stopped. The rain has stopped, but the track, I think it's just still intermediate conditions, I think. Do you agree with that, Tim, or do you think it's ready now?
I don't think that it's ready right now, but maybe it's going to be ready when we go back green. But the big question is, though, is if it's not, and you go out on those soft tires like we see Sir Spud trying to do, then you're going to lose a lot of position. Now, Sir Spud, he has got absolutely nothing to lose. He's already in last position. He might as well risk it. But if you're a driver in the top 5 or so, that's going to be a tricky call to make, simply because, you know, where you finish in the sprint race is where you're going to start in the feature race. You don't want to give up that valuable track position and have it go the wrong way because of a of a
Oh!
bad pit call. That being said, it seems like at least the top 5 or so are diving down into the pits.
Yeah, so they're trying to wait to see if someone was going to gamble on those softs. And it looks like everyone is pitted except for Simon Palmer. Simon Palmer and Michael are the only ones left who are on the intermediates. Now that is quite interesting. That is really interesting. But this is going to be quite good now. We've been told that there'll be dry conditions at the end. We wasn't sure if it's going to be the dry at the end of this sprint or following on from the feature. So we'll have to wait and see. But Lee says Pasta Melanardo is top drawer in these conditions. To be fair though, Melanardo, or Melanade is what we're calling him in new terms now. He's been absolutely phenomenal in the wet conditions. I've seen that in the, if I remembered it right, I think it was when he was in the Williams, I think it was the Austrian Grand Prix, where he was just phenomenal in the conditions itself. And he did well, to be fair, on the race overall. I think it was just the qualifying in the F3, if I remembered it right. But I might be wrong. You might have to remind me back, because there was loads of races that I'll catch up on anyway. And Reed says, you need a lot of melons to make melonade. He's definitely got that, to be fair. He's definitely got that, because he's in that Mercedes car. It's definitely going to boost massively. But I feel bad. Well, Michael's now got himself into the pits. I feel bad for Simon Palmer now, because he's now going to be a sitting duck. And it looks like the track is going to slowly turn into dry conditions, Tim.
Yeah, Simon Palmer might not be having a good time here on this restart. Looks like we're going to have about 3 laps to go when we do go back green. And it is still a little bit damp, as you can see. But I don't think it's really going to be that much of an issue for the soft tire runners. Granted, everybody except Simon Palmer are on the soft tire. So even if it is an issue for the soft tires, at least everyone is going to be struggling.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It looks like Kessis was having some technical difficulties with his car. Hopefully he'll get himself back in as quickly as possible. But yeah, Reed says, today's car will extend the race, meaning the track will dry more. Simon is going to be a sitting duck. Michael's got another drive-through penalty. I believe he's got, I don't know if he had 2 drive-through penalties. He did have one just before the safety car. And now he's going to have another one, which is... No, Michael, no! Moments, Tim. Unbelievable stuff.
I wonder if Toto Wolff regrets that.
No, I don't think so. Not anymore.
I will say, though, I don't care what anyone's opinion of Michael Massey is. I do not envy the job that he had that night, because having all those team principals barking down his throat while trying to, control that race, that would make any person crack under pressure. Definitely don't envy the job he had that night.
No, absolutely not. And the safety car is going to be back into this lap. Simon Palmer needed to have one more lap to have a chance. But look at Melanardo, Nigel Gash, Sunboy. They all licking their lips, saying we've got a chance to get into the top 3 at this stage. But Simon Palmer needs to get a good start. He really needs to get a good start. And I feel bad for him at the minute, because he's going to be an absolute sitting duck. But we've seen many times where Nigel Gash won the race on intermediates. Remember that, Tim? At the USA Grand Prix? That was insane, and he was very lucky to win that race. I think one more lap and he would have completely lost it, to be fair. But
well, we're about to see which tire is the better choice, the softs or the intermediates. Looking like the softs the longer we go, but Simon Palmer has got 2 laps to hold them off, and we are green. But look at that, Melanardo already very close to Simon Palmer. Simon Palmer not getting the start that he needed, and so I think that we are going to see Simon losing some position here sooner rather than later, although he seemed to get a decent jump going into turn 1. A little bit better than what I expected, so maybe, just maybe, there is a little bit of life left in these intermediate tires, but you can see how quick that Mercedes is. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the Mercedes is able to get by this AlphaTauri. And you see some jostling around for position behind them as well, but we are watching the battle for what is essentially going to turn into the pole position for our feature race.
Saab has gone right at the back. I think he must have had contact with some of the drivers, so he's dropped himself down to 14th place. But Menonade is making a move. But we got that battle going. We got the Nitrogas Sunboy and Keza battle. But looks like Simon Palmer is using all that experience. He's got one more lap left. Nitrogas is out! Nitrogas is out! He's crashed! Oh my god. I don't know if there was contact or what, but Nitrogas is out. And Speedgreen has dropped himself down to 8th. And Dowell's going up to 7th. I do not know what is going on now anymore. And now Menonade. Well, Melanardo, I can't stop saying it now. Oh my god,
It's going to be a side-by-side battle, but Melanade takes the lead from Simon Palmer. Simon Palmer, he might have an opportunity into turn number 1 to take the lead back from Melanade, and he actually goes down the inside, but he has to back out of it, cuts the corner a little bit, gets a 3-second time penalty, but you have to give him an A for effort. Simon Palmer did everything that he could there to hold Melanade off and to try to get the lead back. He just did not give up.
He did not give up, but but he won't be happy at the minute because he will drop him down like a domino effect, probably down to 6th place. The way, well, probably about 5th or 6th. The way it goes here, because some boy, Melanard. Oh my God, Kesa! Oh my God, come on! I mean, I'm watching it from Kesa's point of view. Some boy and Simon Palmer. There we go, sorry, to the bed moment. Coming up to the chicane of death now. Trying to push on massively. And Russman is not messed about. They're trying to use all that ERS. Simon Palmer's using all that ERS. He's trying to do everything he can. But some boy cannot make that move done. And they're coming up to the 3rd sector. Kesa! Oh, come on! You beauty! Oh, what a move! What a move there from Kesa! Oh, and he's still going! Oh, he might make the move to 2nd place! Oh no, he's had a penalty as well! But Melanardo! Oh, brilliant! Oh, I feel bad for Simon Palmer and Kesa. But what a move round the outside from Kesa. I'm sorry, mate. I really am sorry. What a move! What an unbelievable move from Kesa.
And, you know, you got to hand it to Simon Palmer. Even though it's 6th place after the time penalty, he finished 2nd place on track, on intermediates. He did a fantastic job holding off the rest of the field. So hats off to Simon Palmer, even if he doesn't have the results to show for it. But Melanade does officially win the sprint race, and he will have the pole position for our 29-lap feature race coming up next year. Official finishing results for the sprint race. Melanade in 1st with Sunboy in 2nd, Russman in 3rd, then Smoke in 4th, 5th is Speed Queen 80, Simon Palmer in 6th, Keza in 7th, 8th is Daryl Whiff and Ginger Tiger in 9th, 10th is ARL, Sir Spud in 11th, O. Steven in 12th, 13th is Sab, Michael Luke in 14th, Nitro Gash in 15th, and 16th is Tadeli.
I'm speechless. I really am speechless. I mean, fair play. I will say this: a fair play to Simon Palmer, who hold on with those intermediates and holding on for dear life. He had a sin duck. And Spud got the right call. To be fair, Spud got the right call to start with. I was worried that he'd gone a little bit early, or to be fair, but he just got the right call at the right time. But yeah, Keza will probably love that, to be fair. You might have to watch that back. But that was a great move from Keza right round the outside to make that move into 3rd, but he had to drop down a few positions. Yeah, Spud says, just unfortunate everyone copied. Yeah, it was just that transition, wasn't it, Tim, where they had to get the right moment at the right time. But Spud got it spot on. I think someone had to gamble, and Spud did it, and it was perfect. Reeds is rooted for Spud, to be fair, and that's good to see. If you like what you see so far, guys, and if you just joined in, good evening to you all. It was an unbelievable feature race where we had a few safety car moments again. Madness, to be fair. And then we had Stelly and Nitrogash were the only casualties in in that sprint race, so they'll be starting right at the back of the grid. If you like what you see so far, guys, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel for all the live race itself. We are aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. Will be a massive help to myself, Malc, and Tim on the commentary box, as well as the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel as well. Please hit that like button if you like the stream so far. It will be a massive help to Invictus and a massive help to us as well. So, Tim, while you watch that race, I'm beating you to this. Top 3. Who's your predictions for tonight?
Well, I think Melinado, he's going to be one of those, definitely in the top 3, so I'm going to go with him. Russman looking very quick as well. And just because of his performance, let's go Simon Palmer.
Okay. I'm going to go Melinado. This is in any order. Melinado, Simon Palmer. I'm going to say Smoke for top 3. I think, yeah. No. I'm going to change my mind. Sorry, Smoke. I'm going to check because you like Brazil. I know you said you like the Brazil track, so you're not a big fan of Australia. I'm going to say Russman. So, Melinado, Simon Palmer, and Russman for top 3.
All right, well, Malc, this might be one of the few times that we've been able to choose our top 3s and they be the same, so that means that we're in this together. We're either both right or both wrong.
We'll have to wait and see how everything plans out. I wish everyone all the very best of luck for the Invictus Racing League in the Realistic Performance League at the Australia Grand Prix. And here we go, 15 seconds. I'll let you do the honours, Tim.
And an honor it is each and every week, but first, just a quick update on the points going into this race. Ginger Tiger in the lead with 185 points. Trailing him is Russman with 179. Let's see who's got the points lead at the end of 29 laps. And you hear those engines driving, you hear those itchy pedal feet, the drivers watching the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights, we are green for the Invictus Racing League's PlayStation Performance League Australian Grand Prix. Melinade, Russman, Sunboy, your top 3. Russman trying to hold off Sunboy into turn 1, and he does, as Melinade already has a nice jump on the field. 0.8 of a second, briefly ahead of Russman. Quickly drops down to 0.6 of a second, but now side by side for third. As you see Speed Queen 80 in the Aston Martin trying to go around the outside of Sunboy. Can't get the job done that time, so she has to fall back in line. Tries to find a way around the Alpine, but can't do it that time. Going a little bit further back, and we have got 2 AlphaTauri. Simon Palmer in 5th. Smoke in the 6th position. Smoke, he's got a train of cars behind him, and Ginger Tiger is right there in that Haas car trying to give chase to Smoke. There you see the 2 AlphaTauris ahead. Ginger Tiger just hanging on strong in P7. Not really a lot of pressure from Daryl Whitman behind him at the moment, but without DRS in these early stages, these drivers are just now trying to settle into their rhythm.
Absolutely, and while you was watching that, Tim, there was some battles in the mid-pack, to be fair, and it was absolutely unbelievable stuff. But now, I'm just watching it from Kes's point of view. Steven drops down to 13th. Michael moves up to 12th. But yeah, hopefully they'll need to push on. It is definitely the one stop from mediums to hards, or hards to mediums, depending on whichever way these guys have decided to go for. But it looks like Daryl's trying to make the move on to Ginger Tiger. You can tell Ginger Tiger's trying to use all that ERS as early as possible, and Daryl needs to keep up that pressure. That's why I'm just watching from Ginger Tiger's point of view. It looks like somebody has dropped down. Russman.
Oh, and we got some contact as Simon Palmer goes into the back of Melinade into turn number 3. So going to be some wing damage on AlphaTauri. Not sure if there's any damage on the Mercedes or not, but he has definitely lost a lot of positions. Oh, and Melinade is off the track a little bit. I think there is some damage.
Yeah, so Simon Palmer has got front wing damage on the left-hand plate. So he'll be struggling like mad, so you have to go into the pits. But he's under a lot of pressure from Smoke. Oh my God, we could have a 2-in-a-bed moment. We just had a 2-in-a-bed moment just behind. We could have but Simon Palmer needs to hold on. But he will have to go back into the pits. Whatever happens, he will have to go back into the pits. He's got to be careful not to cause any havoc in there. Chicane of death. They're still holding on. Smoke. Oh! it's close. Smoke trying to make the move, but doesn't want to do it yet. He wants to do it now. Oh my God. We got the Simon Palmer train. Choo-choo moments in fourth. Oh my God. Keza trying to put the pressure on Ginger Tiger in 6 and 7. Simon Palmer needs to pit.
And he stays out.
He stays out, but that's going to cost him massively now. It's going to cost him massively. Smoke! Come on! You want to make the move? You can't do it now. He can't do it yet. Oh my God! Don't. Oh my God! My head's all over the place. Oh wait, where did Ginger come from? Ginger's just gone out round the outside. He could get 2 places with 1, but Smoke is going to side-by-side moments. Oh, get in!
Ginger Tiger not messing around as we're on board with him in the Haas car, trying to get by Simon Palmer, who has got wing damage, and Simon Palmer refusing to pit this lap and refusing to let any driver by him. Ginger Tiger looking on the outside. Simon Palmer must be using some ERS or something to stay ahead. We saw him hold these drivers off on intermediate tires during the sprint race, but we didn't expect to see him hold them off with wing damage during the feature race. Ginger Tiger still can't find a way around that AlphaTauri, and it is just bunching these cars up behind him. There goes Ginger Tiger finally underneath of the AlphaTauri. He gets by, and now Sir Spud is out, but is that going to bring out a safety car? Yes, it is, at least a virtual safety car.
Virtual, mate. I was trying to beat you to it. Virtual safety car. Trying to put that yellow dot on the map on the right hand side. There is no proper safety car. It's the virtual safety car. Just reading some of the comments. Sorry. Lee says Melanade's been done over there. To be fair, he has been outdone by some of the driving itself. Rain says Ginger basically bump drafting him. Oh no, Spud. Yeah, I know. Spud is out of the race. DRS is now enabled, and we got ourselves back into the live racing. I expect to be a bit more longer than that with a virtual safety car, but we're back live racing, Tim.
Taking a look at Rustman as Sunboy has taken the lead. Speed Queen 80 in third place. Ginger Tiger and Smoke, your top 5 at the moment. Let's take a look at Ginger Tiger and Smoke. Now, without Simon Palmer here with these drivers, they are probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief and happy to just race amongst themselves. Simon Palmer, though, after pitting under the virtual safety car, not losing as much time as he would have, but still losing quite a significant margin to everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just surprised that he didn't pit at the time that we told him to pit. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Spud says, go Speed Queen, go. Yeah, so she's doing really well at the minute in third, but trying to chase up with Rustman and Sunboy, trying to do everything she can, and she's doing really well at the minute. Just having a look at the battle, it looks like ARL is getting close to Darrell. We're going to have the DRS back up now, so DRS should be active, and he will have the activation moments now. They're not using much of that ERS, which I'm very surprised at. I'm going to try to save when they're trying to get closer as much as they can. Oh, ARL nearly lost the back end at turn 1. So it's turn 2. They're down the straight again for the second DRS zone. And they can't do anything about Smoke. Smoke's getting close to Ginger Tiger in 4th. Oh, ARL got a little bit wide at turn 3. Now passing to turn 4, coming up to turn 5. And I tell you what, Tim, this is what I love about Australian Grand Prix. There's so much action galore.
Yeah, and Smoke right now just hanging on to the 5th position and under a lot of pressure from Keza while we go back and watch that battle between ARL and Daryl Whiffen. ARL, another former champion of this division, putting some pressure on Daryl Whiffen here for the 7th position. But, you know, very surprised to see that we haven't seen a lot of change in position except for, interestingly enough, the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Speed Queen nearly made the move on to Rustman. Rustman's not got much ERS compared to Speed Queen. So this is where she needs to capitalise on his mistake. So this is where you're going to have to use all that ERS now. Speed Queen's got the chance now down the DRS straight. She needs to push as much as she can. Oh my days, she's got the straight line speed. And she could be moving up to 2nd place now. So Speed Queen herself will have that extra DRS as well. That will be beneficial for her because she could try and pull away from Rustman, but Rustman will not give up at all, Tim.
And that's exactly what Speed Queen needed, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning of this stream map, is it's very crucial to pay attention to where you are coming out of that final corner and make sure that you have that DRS on your competitor, because you're not just going to get it going into turn 1, you're going to get it into turn 3 as well. So if you can make the overtake into turn 1, then like you said, you have extra DRS into turn 3 that can help you increase the gap over your competitor and help you get away from them and break that 1 second gap.
Absolutely, and they're trying to push on massively, but insane stuff. I'm quite loving the battles so far, but yeah, there was some questionable issues, shall we say, of with the other cars that we had the DNFs earlier on in the sprint race, as well as this feature. I feel sorry for Spud because I think he lost out through the chicane of death, but here we go. We're just watching Keza now. Keza, who said to me, Tim, earlier on in the week while I was doing the commentary for F2, he had a terrible time in Australia, but he wants to try and improve his race. And at the moment, I don't want to jinx him. But he's doing very well at the moment. It looks like Michael. No, Michael, no. Sorry, I've got to stop saying that now. Sorry, Tim. I've got to stop that. Michael has lost it at the last corner. And he's dropped himself down with a domino effect into 14th place.
Meanwhile, you saw Smoke have a little bit of a look-see on Ginger Tiger, couldn't make anything of it, and now Keza right up on the gearbox of Smoke, but will he be able to make a move on the AlphaTauri? He also had a look-see, not able to make anything of it as well, and it seems that Australia is really a track that is difficult to overtake on. You've got 2 DRS zones in the first sector, and then you've got one going into the third sector, but beyond that, you don't really see a lot of opportunities.
You don't. I expected more from that new option. Oh, it looks like IRL made the move. IRL's made the move into Darrell. Sorry about that, too. But yeah, I do agree. There's not been much overtakes that we have seen so far. But I'm hoping that will change, because I expected through that new feature that they did. They took off turn 9-10, I think it was, where you have to turn right and then into that long left-hander in the second sector. But that's what I was expecting to see, was the more overtakes. But unfortunately, I agree with you, Tim. There's not been much. But I tell you what, I'll probably shut up now, because Smoke goes up into 4th now. Gone ahead of Ginger Tiger. Will that be beneficial of the second DRS? Because of that move. Tim.
And there you see Smoke with the second DRS, and I'll tell you, when Smoke made that move, that was very close to contact with the front wing of Ginger Tiger, but, they both just timing it pretty much with razor-thin margins and precision, but all the same, good move from Smoke to get himself up into 4th place. Now he's giving chase to his teammate of Rustman. Now, if you're new here and you're not sure why they are teammates in different cars, well, we do things a little bit differently here in the Realistic Performance League, where instead of teammates being in the same cars, they just drive for quote-unquote the same team. So, Smoke and Rustman's team is Race Ventura Wind Detectors, so that is their constructor. Yeah, and it is hilarious. But the slower drivers will be allocated to the faster cars, and then the faster drivers will be allocated to the slower cars, and as Realistic Performance suggests, these cars mimic the performance of their real-life counterparts. So that's just in order to try to make sure that the playing field, so to speak, is nice and level. And also, something a little bit different is every finishing position gets points.
Absolutely, and that's what they need to push on now, and they need to do that as quickly as possible, and hopefully that not going to cause any havoc itself. But at the moment, as we see, I think they're all spread out a little bit now. I think. Oh, Darrell spun. Darrell has spun at turn 2. And that is not going to through. He's going to have to wait till all the cars have just gone past. He's got to be careful not to get a DSQ. So unfortunately for him, his tyre wear is going to be absolutely atrocious, because he has to try and get himself back into this race. But unfortunately, I didn't see what actually happened to him, but he did spin at turn 2, Tim.
And unfortunate for Darrell Whiffen, so he's back down into the 14th position now, still watching this battle between Smoke, Ginger Tiger, and Keza. Nothing going on in the top 3 positions. Sunboy, Speed Queen 80, and Rustman remain unchanged, and not a lot going on in the back of the pack either. We do have a small battle between Sab and O. Steven, the two Red Bulls, in the mix, but the closest battle are these three cars of Smoke, Ginger Tiger, and Keza. Lap 9 of 29, about to be lap 10 of 29. So we are slowly approaching that halfway mark of the race. And, you know, so far it has been dry. Of course, we did have a wet sprint race, but don't think there's any rain in the forecast for the Grand Prix. So it's going to just be smooth sailing from here on out.
Absolutely, and we're on lap 10 of 29. This is the Invictus Racing League, the realest performance league on the PlayStation platform. If you like what you've seen so far, guys, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel for all the live race itself. We are aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. It will be a massive help to myself, Malc, and Tim on the commentators box, as well as the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel as well. So make sure you hit that like button on this stream, guys. Hit that like button. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. Thank you so much, Tim.
And Ginger Tiger gaining a little bit on Smoke through the newly reconfigured part of this racetrack, but you know, it seems that for whatever reason, Smoke really does have good straight line speed and good top end speed. That's really what you seem to need here, because what Reens was talking about earlier is that you don't really see a lot of the low speed corners around this circuit anymore with the new configuration. I mean, you have the low speed chicane that they just went through, and it's sort of a low speed through the first 3 corners or so, but then after that, it's a lot of fast sweeping corners.
Absolutely, and I think it's just keeping that car intact and try and plant it where you need it, and try not to get onto the curbs too much, because that's where damage limitations are going to kick in. But it just depends on how these guys can push on and try and get that advantage needed to push on to get the decent result that they wanted, to be fair. But you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Stuart says, so Nigel tells me he was hit into the wall during the sprint race. His seasonal contact carries on. I did say there's been some questionable driving, shall we say. But obviously we did not catch it on stream, so we can't comment on our part. But if he has said he has got hit, then that'll have to be checked by Stuart, and do feel like that's just a bit unfortunate for Nigel Gash, because he's had to be fair, Tim, he's had a torrid time this season. Same with some of the drivers. It's just going like from bad luck to even more bad luck, and he can't get into that rhythm going because of other silly mistakes from other drivers, Tim.
Yeah, and you know, after today, we're only going to have 4 races left in this season, but I'd say that some drivers would probably like to take a month early off.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that, pardon me. But yeah, I'm hoping they probably need it, to be fair, because I think it needs that break from these guys for the Performance League. Not just the Performance League, just the league in general. Hopefully we'll see a lot of improvements going on. And we've got yellow flags on Sector 1. I'm not sure who was that for, but believe the yellow flags have just gone. But yeah, it's just been some unbelievable moments, to be fair. Absolutely unbelievable moments. Oh my God, who was that? That was Smoke. Smoke nearly lost the car itself. He was trying to, hopefully doesn't want to lose lose communication as quickly as possible, so he needs to be careful, because Ginger Tiger's getting close to Smoke in 4th place. They're down the DRS straight, and here's Ginger Tiger now trying to make the move, but cannot do anything about it in a minute. On my screen looks like Smoke. He's having some technical difficulties at the moment. If he is watching the stream, please check out as quickly as possible. If not, Ginger Tiger is going to have a bit of a fun time. He's going to go into the pits. Same with Keza. They're both going to the pits with medium tyres already at 11 laps. To be honest, I think that's the right call. It's like 12 to 14 laps, Tim, for the mediums to go. The hards should last about the next, let's say, 16 to 18 laps, you would say. They might go on to go all the way to the softs. Who knows? But they want to try and play it safe and go for the mediums at the end. Who knows? But except for Speed Queen, she wants to try and get onto the softs at the end. And it was like, Michael, go round the outside! Oh, no, contact!
Oh,
Contact
and Michael spins around. Oh, and Tadelli spins around, too.
Yeah.
2 cars around.
So 2 cars around in some time moments. I'll have to look back at that again, because that was just madness. To be fair, Marinade went round the outside, and I don't know if he just lost the corner itself or he got contacted. I don't know. I couldn't see it from my angle, but it looked like he lost it completely. And then all of a sudden, today he had to avoid all that carnage, Tim. So that's why he had to go off the track, and that's why he's dropped himself all the way down to 14th place, Tim.
All right, and Sunboy pitting, Russman and Smoke pitting now. These pit stops, they are going to be crucial. We know how strong the undercut is in these cars. And Ginger Tiger, he pitted the lap before. The question is, will Ginger Tiger get out ahead of Smoke? Could he even, theoretically, get out ahead of Russman? We're about to find out. Russman rejoining the track. Where is Ginger Tiger going to come out in this mix? And the undercut did not work for Ginger Tiger, as Russman stays ahead and Smoke stays ahead of them as well.
Yeah, Ginger Tiger just made the move on to Nige Gas. Smoke's dropped down to 7th. So, yeah, Mad seems to be fair. Also, Smoke trying to make the move onto Melonade. Cannot do anything about it at the minute. But it's just been mad switcheroo, so we say, into the pit stops. Let's see if Ginger Tiger, with that fresh tyres, catch up to Smoke, who both drivers are just battling out for in the position itself. It looks like Ginger Tiger had a great exit into the second sector. And now he's got a chance to make the move on to Smoke. This is the part where I expected the overtakes to happen. He's trying to... I tell you what, he's trying to make the move on Smoke. But that was really cautious. I would not have made that move on the inside, because the gap was closing. And even though he was trying to make that move, the gap was already closing. Right, and now Ginger Tiger is trying to make the move. Cannot do it yet. But Smoke will be loving it now, because he will have the DRS off Melonade, Tim.
And I think what you're seeing here is Smoke really struggling to get the temperatures built up in those tires, where Ginger Tiger already has the temps built up in his tires because he pitted a lap earlier. But Smoke, expecting that, is trying his best to defend against the Haas, and you see it's working, but you could see that Ginger Tiger, he seemed to have a little bit of a faster car. He just could not get the spot on Smoke.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think the problem was Smoke has done everything he could from watching the F2 race earlier on in the season. Earlier on this week, sorry. Yeah, Smoke was doing phenomenally well. But yeah, you have to watch out for it. It looks like Kez has got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiples. That is not good for him if he wants to get a good position in this race. But Ginger Tiger needs to push on. He can't do anything about it. He really needs to do something, because at the moment he's battling out with Melonade for the Drivers' Championship, from what I can remember. But now Smoke is more challenging onto Melonade. Smoke needs to get a good exit at the chicane of death, and they do perfectly. And now Smoke is starting to make the move on to Melonade. Melonado. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant move there from Smoke. But he'll be under a sitting duck against the Mercedes of Melonado. Some boys got the fastest of the race, and Simon Park's got 3-second time penalty, Tim.
And one thing I'm noticing about Ginger Tiger compared to Smoke is Smoke really seems to attack the corner entry a lot harder than Ginger Tiger does. Now, I'm not sure how much of that has to do with just a difference in car handling or driving style, but it does seem that Smoke is maybe a little bit more aggressive, and it seems to benefit him when it matters, where Ginger Tiger seems to be a bit hesitant to make some of these moves. It looked like he might have been able to follow Smoke through and get past Melonade. A little bit risky, but considering Melonade's on the older tires, should have been able to make quick work of him. But Ginger Tiger, for whatever reason, decided to back out of that, and for all we know, that could have been the best scenario, because we don't know how that car is handling, but we do know that there is a yellow flag on the track. Is it a safety car or a VSC?
DSC, mate, and it was Tadelli who lost it at the second corner. I'm just going to have a quick look on him. He's got no front wing, Tim. I think the safety car, the virtual safety car, is coming out because of the front wing damage, which has happened a few times. So Spud got caught by one of the cars and hit the wall just before the pit entry. And now Tadelli, unfortunately for him, will have to go into the pits. And he'll have to go into the pits and will be at the back of the grid, whatever happens. Also, Speed Queen and No Steven have both going to the pits now. So interesting to see how Speed Queen can now push on. Sam, the only one in the top 3 who's still on 16 laps on those hard tyres. So if he was on the hard tyres, Tim, do you believe that they would go... Do you think they would gamble to go on the softs now, or do you think it's a bit too early, too risky?
Well, it does depend, of course, on how long you are able to make those hard tires last, but I do think that with Speed Queen being a driver, just for example, who is very famous for being able to make the tires last, if you have that ability, then I think it could behoove you to wait and go onto the soft tires, because you're going to be that much faster, or at least in theory. However, what we have learned this season is that the soft tires don't seem to give you as much of a benefit as you would expect, or maybe as they have in seasons past. So yes, I do think that it is worth the gamble if you can manage your tires effectively, but it is very important to understand that we've seen the soft tires lag a little bit in performance this season.
Absolutely. To be fair, I was hoping that some people would go a bit longer than expected, and hopefully we get the softs to kick in. But looks like the drivers who were going from the hards will go into the mediums to play it safe throughout the remainder. And there's not enough softs to run, actually, to be fair. But I was hoping that they would go longer on the hards or longer on the mediums to go onto those softs as much as they can. But can I just say, fair play to Speed Queen at the minute. She's had really unlucky times in the last few races, and she got herself into second place at the moment. Russman trying to close the gap into third, but some boy, it looks like he'll be unbeatable at the minute unless we get another safety car at this stage. But the only battle we've got at the minute that I could see is the smoke train from 4th to 7th place, Tim.
And Malc, just going back on Speed Queen really quick, though, I do have a question. On my screen, it's showing that she has 1 lap on her hard compound tires, but I thought that she started on the hards. Was I mistaken?
I will get back to you on that one. No, she was on the medium tyre, I believe. She was on the medium tyre to start. I will double check, and I'm sure the guys will be watching it as well. I will double check for you guys now. Just bear with me a sec. But carry on, Tim.
I very well could be sorely mistaken, but I saw that she had 2 laps on the hard tires, and it struck me as very peculiar, considering that she would have to pit again if that were the case that she started on the hards. However, I could have just looked at the leaderboard wrong, and well, hopefully for her sake, I did. But all the same, good job to her being in P2, as we are still watching this battle between Ginger Tiger and Keza now, as smoke is starting to pull away a little bit from these 2 cars. And who is that behind them that is actually trying to join this mix? Was it Melanade? Yes. And that's actually, looks like it might be an Alfa Romeo in between the 2 cars. Of course, the Alfa Romeo being a lap car, if so. Yeah, there you see the car pulling over, and that's actually Ferrari. My apologies. That's Tadelli, I believe.
We're trying to see everything plans are, but I've just got some technical difficulties at the minute, Tim, so I'll let you carry on with the commentary at the minute. Sorry about this, guys.
So Keza half a second back from Ginger Tiger now. Now, Keza, he's going to have the DRS on Ginger Tiger going into turn number 1, but the problem is that Ginger Tiger's going to have the DRS off of smoke, so we're stuck in this DRS train, and it's really what we've been watching for the last handful of laps here. Now, it's a good points day for Smoke if he's able to hang on to this 4th position, but you know that he's wanting to get a little bit more, but he's got his teammate up there in 3rd. Now, that could be his saving grace. His teammate could theoretically lag behind just a little bit, give Smoke the DRS, and help him catch up, but he does run the risk of bringing Ginger Tiger and Keza into play as well, and they are hooked up with the DRS as Keza was trying desperately to get by Ginger Tiger but just could not see an opportunity present itself, so Keza has to follow the Haas car back through for at least one more lap. He will have another DRS going into the 3rd sector. Not sure if he's going to really find the opportunity that he's looking for to get around this Haas car. All the same, we're getting some pretty hefty battles here in the closing stages of the Australian Grand Prix. I do believe that Malc is still having some issues. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm still with you, sorry. As I was watching the race director, there's no back button to get back onto the race screen. So, yeah, so that's a great feature. So I'm trying to get myself back into the lobby. So I do apologise, guys.
Oh,
just
my
to clarify.
goodness.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm missing some of the laps, so I do apologise, guys. But I was just double checking on the moment itself, so just bear with me a sec, guys. I will be back. So Tim, I do apologise.
Well, I cannot believe what we're hearing, that there's not the ability to go out of the race director and back to the screen. All the same, glad to have Malc back with us finally. He really didn't miss much, Malc. We're still watching Ginger Tiger and Keza. Keza just really struggling to keep up with Ginger Tiger. He stays within the DRS, but because they're stuck in that train, you're not really going to see him make any moves. And I'd say that Keza really wishes that Smoke could just get a little bit further ahead of Ginger Tiger so that he could at least have an opportunity to get into the top 5 here. But it's lap 21 of 29. Sunboy, Speed Queen 80, and Rustman, your top 3. Sunboy, a whopping 13.3 second lead over Speed Queen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you have a break now, Tim. I do apologise on that one, to be fair. Keza getting close on to Ginger Tiger for 5th place. Let's see if Keza can try and push on. We've got that battle going for between 4th, 5th and 6th. Daryl's noticed on a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. IRL and Sab are having a good battle actually for 8th and 9th respectively. I'm just going to watch Sab for a moment, see if he can try and catch up to the pressure of IRL, who's on the hard tyres. Melanade's on 20 laps on hards. Joe says, how are you guys? How are you all? I'm doing very well. Tim's doing very well. He's done really well at the minute. These guys are doing really well at the minute. But yeah, fair play to Sab actually. Try and put the pressure on ARL. Can he try and put the pressure on? Because I know Steven is right at the back as well. So not much time. It looks like ARL's trying to get rid of that slipstream off Sab. Sab, if he can hold on, that's good. That's hold on into that turn 1. Now into turn 2, if he can hold that and now attack. But at the moment, he's got not much ERS. Both drivers have got not much ERS. So, interesting stuff coming to turn 3. Oh. They're trying to do everything they can, but they're pushing on, going on like the clappers, Tim.
And Sab and ARL, Sab's got to remember that is a former champion that he is battling there in that Aston Martin, but look behind him. It is Steven coming very hard there in the Red Bull on the medium tires. And, of course, Michael Luke there in P11 trying to give chase to him. But it's, 6.1 seconds back. He's got a tall ladder to climb.
Absolutely. And I do apologise for just to clarify the medium tires. Yeah, the top 6 that was started, they started off on the mediums. You are right, Spud. Reese's Mellows tyres are at the brink of extinction. I think he's just holding on for those soft tyres. That's what he's doing. He's trying to hope to get another safety car. And if he does, that is perfect timing. But at the moment, can't do anything about it. Looks like Keza needs to make the move on Ginger Tiger. Ginger Tiger's just not having any of it. These guys have got penalties galore. Ginger Tiger, Keza, Melanardo, ARL. They've got all 3 second worth of time penalties. So whoever finishes there will be massive. Oh, we've got 2 drivers actually who've messed up. I think that might be Daryl. Daryl and Nigergash. Daryl and Nigergash. I don't know what happened to those 2, but Nigergash lost it on turn 14, I think it was. And then Daryl on the last corner lost it completely. So we've had a few casualties from those positions, Tim.
Yeah, and meanwhile, ARL was able to get by Sab. Now it is ARL, Sab, O'Steven 8, 9, and 10 at the moment, and O'Steven still trying to give chase to his car-allocated teammate up there of Sab, but ARL looking like he is hooked up here, and he does have, well, not actually, he does not have the freshest tires, but Sab has got the freshest tires, while ARL perhaps has the freshest determination to keep Sab behind him, and
until now.
Yeah, until now, and solidify this top 10 position. But you know, that's what we love about this. It's been one of the races to where drivers have struggled and struggled to pick up positions, and now in the closing laps, we're finally seeing some position making up. And look at ARL almost getting into the back of Sab through the final corner. You actually saw him check up massively to avoid a collision there, and that's actually going to allow O'Steven an opportunity to get underneath of the Aston Martin. Does he get the job done? No, he does not. Great defending from ARL.
Yeah, great defending at the moment. Looks like O'Steven needs to try and push on, but they've got no ERS. These three drivers have got no ERS at all. They need to push on. They need to push on massively at the moment. And O'Steven, no, I was going to say, do not make that move there, mate. Wait for that good move. Do what Keza did. Keza's move at the sprint race was a phenomenal overtake. Unbelievable stuff. So Aero's in a Red Bull sandwich. He might lose out to the sandwich of O'Steven. Oh my god, no. Hold on. Oh, Steven trying to make the move, but he will lose a bit of momentum. He's got to be careful not to lose the curve itself. But it looks like Steven needs to push on. And ARL is holding on. Oh, he's caught the grass, actually, O'Steven. So that may lose a bit of time, but he's still keeping up with the pack, Tim.
And meanwhile, Sunboy, Speak Queen 80, Rustman, still your top three, so no change up there as it is lap 25 of 29, the closing stages of this race. You're watching the battle for 8th between ARL and O'Steven. O'Steven might have an opportunity to get by the Aston Martin this time, and he does, but does he clear him? No, he does not. Oh, but ARL goes wide, so now O'Steven clears him, and he's got the extra DRS, so ARL losing a ton of time this time around.
Absolutely, but he'll be fuming at ARL. He'll be absolutely fuming because he went off track. He was trying to avoid the contact of O'Steven, but he had nowhere to go. He had nowhere to go. Well, I say nowhere to go. He was like, he didn't want to cause an accident itself on turn 1 into turn 2. So I feel bad for ARL, to be fair. I feel bad for ARL, but hopefully he'll bounce back. And I'll tell you what, who's trying to bounce back at the minute is Ginger Tiger. He's already got 3 seconds with a time penalty, so whatever happens when he tries to get ahead of Smoke, needs to do it as soon as possible, because Rustman is all the way in 3rd place, and you can see him at the distance, Tim.
Yeah, and you know, that's what I was talking about earlier, is that I theorized that maybe Rustman might drop back a little bit and give Smoke that DRS, but whether or not that was in their plan, it wouldn't really be wise of him to do that with Ginger Tiger and Keza right on his teammate's heels. So even if they had thought about it, it's not really something that's been able to come to fruition for them, as Smoke has mainly had to play blocker for his teammate. It does seem as though maybe Ginger Tiger and or Keza, if they could get around Smoke, might be faster than Rustman, could at least have caught him and challenged him for that position if they had got by him a few laps before. But with Smoke right there in the way, they're just using up their tires trying to get by him. But was there contact? Yes, there was. So Smoke losing 2 positions. Ginger Tiger does get by Smoke that time. Now I guess the question's about to be answered. Are these cars faster?
I will be honest, they weren't faster when Smoke was ahead. Yellow flag set to 3. I believe that is. I think that's. No, that's not Michael. I'll try to see who that is. Do apologise on this, guys.
And there goes Keza underneath of Ginger Tiger. Keza trying to make the move, and he does. Keza into P4 now.
Keza into P4. I do apologise, guys. Smoke has unfortunately lost communication. That's where we lost it. That's where the communication was lost. And now, hopefully, get himself back into that race. If not, he'll be under a lot of pressure at this stage. But Kez and Ginger Tiger, they need to push on now. They need to push on, otherwise Smoke will bounce himself back up to 4th. But with that loose communication, it needs to push on massively, Smoke. Tim.
And I thought that there would be potential for Keza or Ginger Tiger to maybe at least eat away at the gap that Russman has over them if they got by Smoke. But watching the time interval, you can see that it's really staying mostly flat, maybe Russman even being a little bit quicker than Keza. However, we did just see it drop about 0.2 of a second, so I'm wondering if maybe Russman had a bit of a moment through one of those corners. But overall, Russman is still quicker than Keza and Ginger Tiger.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's shocking at the minute was Speed Queen, who lost that, I think it was about 15 to 16 second gap to Sunboy. Sunboy drops down to 8 seconds. That's where the spin happened in the last few corners. So the drivers are not, some of the drivers are not capitalising on their mistakes and, from other people's mistakes and pushing on. And now, Sunboy has done well to keep that 9-second gap now, but yeah, he's very lucky not to lose so much more, to be fair to him.
Yeah, and it's now 2 laps to go. Sunboy, all he's got to do is make clean laps, and he has won this race. I mean, he has been a very dominant car thus far, as we will go ahead and take a look at him just as soon as the game actually allows me to do so. There we go. There is our leader in the Alpine, Sunboy. But he has had a very dominant car today. He took the lead, and he has not looked back since. Now, it's not the last lap yet, and, we're not about to call him the winner until he crosses that line. All the same, with the gap that he has, he knows that he doesn't have to push. He just has to keep it clean. But he's done a great job. Speed Queen 80, this is going to be a good finish for her in P2, a very important point stay that she needs. She has not been in the championship fight much this season, unlike last season. All the same, she's still been going out there fighting for points, fighting for wins, fighting for podiums, and it's looking like it could be another podium for her today. And of course, Russman, who was a championship contender last season and is a championship contender this season, he is in 3rd place, so that's a great points day for him and a great points day for Race Ventura Wind Detectors in general, with his teammate of Smoke being in P6. Now, we did see him have some communication issues, so not as good as maybe it could have been for them, but all the same, decent with P3 and P6 if that's how they finish. And of course, Keza running in P4, he has had a bit of a mixed bag of results, would you say, this season, Malc, to where he shows some, I guess, glimpses of hope and glimpses of promise, and then he has a mistake that takes him out of contention and ruins his day. But P4, it's not a podium, it's not a win, but it's still a solid finish.
Absolutely, and he's done really well today. I don't want to jinx it too much, but Stephen, sorry about that, too. Stephen has made the move on to Michael for 8th place. That's a really good move for Stephen. IRL's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so we'll have to wait and see how everything plans out at the moment.
And while that's going on, we've got Sunboy rounding the final 2 corners, the fastest car on track today. He's been dominant, and now he's going to be the winner. Sunboy wins the Australian Grand Prix. Speed Queen 80 out of the final corner here in just a moment. That goes to show you just how much of a gap Sunboy had on the rest of the field, but she will be delighted with a P2 finish, a fantastic podium for her. And then Keza, looks like Keza might get P3. What happened? What happened to Russman? Something happened to Russman, so Keza, he does break through to get a podium, and Smoke gets P4, Ginger Tiger P5, and Russman in P6. What happened to Russman, though?
I think he's lost communication with his car. So unfortunately for him, ARL's moved to 9th. Michael drops down to 10th because he had ARL's dropped to 10th. Menonardo, Simon Palmer will be leaving the session, but I think Russman will be fuming. Will be absolutely fuming at that car. Well, his communication with his car. But unfortunately, guys, there'll be no interviews at the end of this race. There is no interviews at the end of the race. So we would have liked to have heard from Sunboy, Speed Queen, and Keza's point of view. But from their perspective, I'm sure they've had a fantastic time as well. So, but yeah, just a reminder, guys, there is no interviews at the end of this race, and no interviews at the end of this race. So, Tim, I'll let you do the honours for the final time for the race classification. Make sure you pick the sprint as well as the feature results. And Michael is your driver of the day. Tim.
Yeah, now, I know, Malc, that I've had some issues here with this menu, so hopefully I'm going to be able to figure it out this time. So we're going to go slowly and carefully, and we're going to try to get it done right this time.
Hopefully so. But
I'm on a loading screen right now, so there's nothing that I can do, but hopefully I'll be able to figure it out. So, slowly and carefully wins the race. Okay, so I have to hit the X button one more time. I am narrating every move that I do. There is your weekend results. I'm not hitting the X button right now. There is your sprint results. I think we got it this week. And your officially unofficial results for the Grand Prix following any steward inquiries is Sunboy in first, Speed Queen 80 in second, Keza in third, Smoke in fourth, fifth is Ginger Tiger, Rustman in sixth, seventh is Sab, O Steven in eighth, ninth is Michael Luke Melanade in 10th, 11th is ARL Nitro Gash in 12th, 13th is Daryl Whiffen, Simon Palmer in 14th, 15th is Tadeli, and Sir Spud in the 16th position. Malc, we got it.
We got it indeed. And just a reminder for the sprint, Melanada did get first, Sunboy in second, Rustman in third, Smoke in fourth, Speed Queen in fifth, Simon Palmer 6th, Keza 7th, Daryl 8th, Ginger Tiger 9th, ARL 10th, and the rest are under 10th place as well. Well done to Spud. He says, I did say Speed Queen top 3. ARL says, game, just give me a 20-second penalty at the end, so expecting to be back to P10. We'll find out in a moment whatever happens. So hopefully we get that sorted with the bit of a weird penalty situations. But we have noticed it a few times this season in the safety cars as well as in the race. Some dodgy moments, shall we say. But here we go, guys. For the final time of asking, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel. For all the live race itself, we are aiming for at least 10 likes tonight, guys. We're aiming for at least 10 likes. Will be a massive help to myself, Malc, and Tim for the commentators, as well as the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. Unfortunately, guys, there is no interviews. We have got to shoot off. So, Tim, have you got any final words?
Well, congratulations to Sunboy on a hard-fought win and a very dominant performance. Overall, it was a wet to dry and very interesting Australian Grand Prix, to say the least. Some weird safety car periods and some weird penalties that I'd say that the drivers aren't really happy about. But, of course, we have very respectable and nice people in the steward office that will look at that and make the appropriate results and adjustments accordingly in the coming week. But thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to all the drivers that raced with us. And congratulations to our top 3 finishers. This has been the Invictus Racing League's PlayStation Performance League, brought to you in partnership with GridFinder.com. And until next time, have fun and goodbye.
See you later.